Well, thank you guys for joining me today. And I just want to let you know that I will be jumping on right after we do this training to do a live Q&A. I keep the live Q&A as part of coming here live. So if you're able to make it to the events, it's bastionaccounting.com/register. Register for the live training, be here, get live Q&A. I do cut the Q&A off for any of the videos that go out afterwards, any recordings, just to kind of keep that as something that those who are able to attend live get to have special. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Awesome. All right. So Financially Focused Photographers Live with me, Tiffany Bastion. Today, we are going to talk about Tax ID 101. And before we go any further, I just want to take a quick minute to introduce myself. I am Tiffany Bastion. I am the owner of Bastion Accounting here in Buffalo, New York, where my staff and I actually are all over the United States. And we work specifically with photographers. We have everything from, the free Facebook group where a lot of you have come from, these weekly trainings that are for those members, to membership that's launching next week, the Legit Photographer Collective. We have courses and we have done for you services as well. But all of our stuff is that done for photographers so that we can specialize and really go deep on those topics. So really quickly, I have a master's degree in accounting and I'm an IRS enrolled agent. That's what the EA stands for. If you have seen any of my other trainings, I always explain this because I'm on a little campaign to just make sure people understand what that designation means. So a CPA takes a 4-part exam, and one of those 4 exams, a tiny part of it is tax. And not to discredit CPAs, but they do not specialize in tax right off the get-go. They have to get CPA certified in the state that they are going to work in, where an IRS enrolled agent is certified through the IRS. 3 exams: personal tax, business tax, and ethics. I take 73 hours of continuing education every 3 years to keep my credentialing, and I'm certified through the IRS, and I can work with clients in all of the states versus a CPA can only be in your state. So I think that's why a lot of people think they have to find a CPA in their state. I'm here to tell you that you don't, and that we can help you no matter where you are at Bastion Accounting. All right. Real quick here, I'd like to just say, I'm not sure if everyone's aware, but I'm definitely on Instagram. I have a YouTube channel with a lot of good nuggets of knowledge, a lot of videos on topics just like this one. And we have a Facebook group. So we have our Facebook page and we have Financially Focused Photographers. So if you have not joined that, or you're not following me, or we're not connected, let's make that happen. Today, our topic, tax ID. So we're going to cover what it is, what it's used for, if you need one, and how to get one if you do. And before we get too into this topic, I just want to step back and look at the big picture, okay? So there's so many terms that mean the same thing. So you might have heard tax ID. You might have heard tax identification number. You might have heard of federal employer identification number. You may have heard of EIN. And these are, I guess, mostly referring to the business side of things. But what I really need you to know is that a tax ID is just that. It's just a number that's registered with the IRS, used on tax forms for cross-reference. So whenever you fill out, let's say a W-9, and then someone issues you a 1099, the IRS is literally, and then you file your tax return. Okay, so follow me real quick. Your Schedule C would have your tax ID on it, which would match the W-9 and the 1099. So then the IRS can see how many 1099s were issued to you, and does the income you claimed on your Schedule C match that amount? Do you follow me here? So it's really used to identify the taxpayer, if you will. But there's only 3 kinds. So think about this for a minute. So we have all those slang terms that people use for tax ID, but tax ID is literally just that. It's a tax identification number. And there's only 3 kinds. Okay. So you already have one, most of you do, your Social Security number. That is a tax ID number. If you start a business or you want to be something different, right? Because the second that you take money for service or product, you become a sole proprietor, and a sole proprietor becomes whatever your name is, Sue Smith, with your Social Security number, and you have to report that income and expenses on your tax return, and you would use your Social Security number because your taxes right now are filed by your Social Security number because that's your tax ID. But if you wanted to separate your business from yourself a little bit, that's where the employer identification number comes in, EIN. Now, you don't have to be an employer. It's just the EIN is the business one. And then you have the individual taxpayer identification number. So let me talk about these for a second in detail. So U.S. taxpayer identification numbers, our tax IDs, include Social Security number, which is used for individuals, an employer identification number, which is used for business entities. And then you have individual taxpayer identification number, which is issued to individuals who are required to have a U.S. taxpayer identification number, but can't obtain a Social Security number, or they're not eligible for that. So that's the difference for these, right? So this is for individuals. And so is this. This is just for individuals who were maybe not born in the United States, or however that worked, whatever they're going through, and that they can't get a Social Security number. And this is for your business. Then the next question everyone says, well, do I need an EIN, right? Because moving forward, we're going to talk about the EIN. You know what a Social Security number is. You know what an ITIN is. We're talking about, do you need an EIN for your business? Do you need that business tax ID? And the second that you receive money in exchange for a product or service, you become a sole proprietor. That is earned income. You are going to need to report the income and expenses on a Schedule C attached to your return. Now, you, again, like I just said, so let's say you're Sue Smith and you start doing photo shoots and taking some money for some weddings here and there. Well, now you have that earned income, and now you're going to fill out a Schedule C, and your business name will be your name and you're on your Schedule C, and then it'll be your tax ID. And then let's say somebody's like, oh, well, I need a 1099 or a W-9 from you for this, because maybe you second shot for somebody or something. That's going to be the same thing, right? You're going to use the same thing you use on your Schedule C and your Social Security number. But if you're really thinking about this, becoming a business, and you're going to grow, or you have some plans here, let's talk about, when do you need to get an EIN? Okay, so when you form an LLC, you have to get an EIN, because now you have this business, ABC Photography, and ABC Photography has to have a tax ID. Sue Smith already has a tax ID. She has her Social Security number. But forming an LLC, now you have a separate entity, and you need to file it for a tax ID. If you're opening a business bank account, almost every single bank is going to make you have a tax ID to put on that account. Again, if you get audited or your business gets audited, let's say you're an LLC, which is limited liability company, and somebody sues you, and let's say they win, they can only take up to the assets that are in the name of the LLC, which means that the business bank account would be registered under the LLC with the LLC tax ID, not your Social Security number. And that's where you can see that's where the separation starts to happen. So now that's separate from you. And so in that lawsuit, they can only take those assets. We go deep into business structures and what they all mean, and what limited liability is and when it dissolves, because there's things you can do accidentally to dissolve your liability for your LLC. Talk about all of that inside the membership, which I'm going to go into detail at the end of this training to kind of show you what's going to be in there. If you're hiring employees, you absolutely have to have an EIN. That's why it's called an employee identification number, because now you have tax forms that you need to fill out for deducting things from paychecks and reporting that stuff. So you need it for that. If you're registering for sales tax, which sales tax affects photographers in almost every state, you will need a tax ID. Obtaining state business licenses, and that business is spelled wrong. I see that. So I do apologize. Business, you have to get, some states require business licenses for different kinds of services and things. And so we do talk about that deeply in the membership too, like what states require what. And then the biggest thing is it minimizes use of your Social Security number. As you start to grow your business and you're not filling out and putting your Social Security number all over the place, you have a business name and a tax ID. But I want to also stress that you do not have to have an EIN if you are a sole proprietor or a DBA. So you can go ahead, and a DBA is doing business as. So you can go register, I'm Sue Smith doing business as ABC Photography, and still do it under your Social Security number if you want to. Honestly, I'd form an LLC as soon as you know you're going to have a business and get an EIN. Also, to think about when it changes. So if you form an LLC and then, I don't know, like I've had a client, she formed an LLC in one state, then she moved to another one. It didn't transfer. Most don't transfer. Some states will adopt an LLC. Some states will let you have a foreign LLC. So like your LLC is from another state, but you're doing business in that state. But she formed a new LLC because we wanted to set up the whole new rules of sales tax and all that stuff. So she got a new tax ID. So anytime that you create an LLC, you're going to get a new tax ID. Let's say that you form a sole proprietor. There's no legal formation. You start doing photography. You're like, oh, I'm making money. I don't want this to be under Sue Smith. I want it to be ABC Photography. So you go create a DBA ABC Photography, but you're still using your social security number, which you can do. And then you decide that you're like, oh, well, I'm going to, become an LLC. Now you have to get a tax ID, right? So you just want to think about your return will be reported, half of it to the non-tax ID, to your social security number. And then when you got the LLC, then you start tracking it there. So just for clarity and cleanliness of your records, like just go for the LLC and get that done first off is my advice. Get that EIN. Then you're like, well, what if things change later? Well, you can amend your LLC. Like maybe you're like, I want to change the name, amend the LLC to a different name, keep that same tax ID, because that tax ID is going to be connected to your sales tax license and your sales tax account. It's going to be attached to your bank accounts. Like, see how that tax ID gets so interwoven into everything you're doing in your business. And so having to change it can be an issue. Or if you're doing all these things and with, your social security number, some of them you can't even do with your social security number, but you see how that can be nice and clean if you just go with the LLC and get the EIN. I digress, but I really push that. Just go for get the LLC out of the way, And then next I want to talk to you about how to get your EIN. Okay. So I have this link here. I'm actually going to walk you through that screen in a minute. But what I want you to be aware of is if you Google tax ID, there's like 100 sites that like try to charge you to do this thing I'm going to show you, which literally is free through the IRS and takes like 10 minutes. Okay. So let me share. Let me see. Let me pull over this screen. I have it open here. So this is this link that I was just showing you on that slide. So you can go, this explains everything about you. We kind of just went over all these details. You're going to click apply online. And you're actually going to go through this application and you're going to fill it out. See, it's got all this information. It walks you through each step. I don't know if it'll let me continue. Here, let me just choose some things to show you really quick. The beginning application, I'm going to say I'm a sole proprietor and I'm a sole proprietor, not a household employee. I don't know how far it's going to let me go. Why are you getting the EIN? Started a new business, hired employees, banking. See what I mean? These are all the reasons you're going to have to get one. Anyways, you'll walk through these steps, you guys. Super easy. The only thing is that you need to make sure you have all your business stuff. So if you are going to be a DBA and you're getting a tax ID, have your DBA paperwork there. You're going to need to know the date you became a DBA. You're going to need to know the name of the DBA because this tax ID is going to be registered to that business. Same thing for an LLC. Make sure you have all your paperwork there. But this literally takes 10 minutes to walk through. And then when you get to the end, it's actually going to give you your tax ID, the letter that you would receive in the mail. Actually, let me see if I can pull up a copy of what that looks like. It's called an SS4. All right, so here's what it looks like. So this will literally pop up on your screen and let you download the PDF version of this. And then they usually send you one in the mail. But it literally has your business information, your information as the sole proprietor, the owner, and then mailing address. It's going to have your employer identification number here, your EIN, which is what you'll use. You'll take this with you to the bank. You'll put this with your LLC paperwork or your DBA paperwork, and you have all that. And it gives you the date that this was registered. And then it explains the different things that you might need to know about an EIN. But literally, you can do all of that in 10 minutes. How many of you are like, I had no idea it was free and I could take 10 minutes to do it myself? Because when you do Google, you do get a bunch of websites trying to sell you that service. And all right, so that's it, you guys. That is everything. So that we talked about what it is, what it's used for. It's really used to cross-reference and also just to identify your tax return, whether it's for your business or for your personal self. So when you have your 1040 form, it's going to have like your name and your spouse's name and your tax IDs, right? Your social security numbers. Then your Schedule C will have the name of your business and your tax ID for the business, separating out that information, even though it's still all part of the same tax return. And I'm going to hop on in a minute and answer some questions live. Remember, if you want to be here, part of the live Q&A, you need to register at bastionaccounting.com/register and then join us live. The Q&A will be cut out for any recordings. And right before we jump onto the Q&A, I just want to real quickly share with you. Of course, we have the Legit Photographer Collective. It's actually launching on November 15th, which is next Tuesday. If you're watching this at a later time or recording, it's probably already open, but this is going to be everything. Okay. You have access to all of my content, not just my course content, all of my content. We have weekly support calls covering different topics, and we have a monthly masterclass. And I already have my masterclasses booked out into Q1 of next year with amazing photographers who have done awesome things, who are going to be teaching various things like pricing, showing us some new CRMs, we have some pet photography stuff coming. So I really want to help inspire growth with those, hearing from other professionals in your industry that have done these amazing things, on top of really helping you get everything organized. And we're going to go through we go through all of my courses. So we're going to go through business foundations, getting yourself set up, understanding all these things. I actually walk you through the exact steps and show you exactly how to get a tax ID. I just sort of, briefed over it here, but I walk you through all of that in there, walk you through all the things for filing an LLC, walk you through getting business licenses, registered for sales tax, all the things that you need. And then we go into setting up your QuickBooks, all part of it. We're going to go through setting up QuickBooks, getting everything in there, getting yourself updated, showing you how to tax plan. You'll get access to my tax planning software. I'm going to show you how to connect your QuickBooks to that, enter your personal information from the personal part of your life, and how you can actually strategize. And the tax planning software gives you different scenarios and suggestions to help you save money. We're going to talk about how you take your QuickBooks and you can spit out reports for your tax preparer, or how you can take that information and you can import it into TurboTax and your own taxes. Like, I have the entire spectrum. It is a full circle from the beginning to end, like how we're doing everything in here. We also talk about there's a level up phase. And actually, you know what? You guys are here. I'm going to go ahead and just show you, because I'm a visual and I think that you are too. Screen with you. I want to scroll down and show you guys the phases. So we have these phases. So when you come into the membership, you work through these phases, and there is content to support you through all these phases, including some of the master classes that will be coming. So business and financial foundations, getting set up and compliant, getting financially organized, getting all the bookkeeping and everything done, establishing monthly routines. And this is where we're going to make a checklist for you. Like, what are you doing weekly, monthly, quarterly, annually for your bookkeeping? So you're prepared, so you're planning, so you know what's going on. And then you can see how this is like this infinity symbol, because then you can level up and then come back, maintaining, and level up and maintaining, right? And the level up is really like, maybe you're ready to buy a studio, or do you want to rent a studio? I'm going to have lessons on what's the best thing to do. Well, if you buy a studio, what are things you need to consider? And that's a whole other thing. We have a lot of one-on-one clients who have purchased buildings. So they not only own studios and are renting out space, but they also have the photography business and all of that. You want to make sure you're accounting for all that properly. If you want to purchase a company vehicle, if you're ready to convert to S corporation, we talk through all that stuff with you. And so here's kind of a breakdown of what's going on in each of these sections. So we get set up and compliant, we get your tax ID, get your licenses if we need to. Like, I want to walk you through all that stuff. Contractor compliance, 1099s and W-9s. What do you need to be doing? Phase 3 is getting QuickBooks set up, and then going through like what's the best CRM, because you can connect all these CRMs to QuickBooks. So we go through all of that. Then establishing your routines, your quarterly tax planning, again, where you get access to Tax Planner Pro for free through me. And then I'm going to show you how to use it to plug all your stuff in so you can make your estimated tax payments, and so that you can plan. And you can literally go like, if I put this much in an IRA, it will calculate and show you how much you'll save. And then here's that level up phase, right? So maybe you want to become an S Corp. Maybe you need to learn about pricing, or maybe you want to raise your pricing. Like these are the level up things. And we're going to be adding so much more. This is a true community, because I'm going to be taking all of the questions that you guys ask in the group too, and creating video content. Like, if you're like, Tiffany, well, what do I do about gift cards? I'm going to create a whole video on it. Like, I want this to be your library of everything that you need. And also with those weekly calls. And I'm going to scroll to the bottom here because, here's again, everything that we have going on. Tax Planner Pro, this is what the software looks like. You're legit getting free access to that. And then here's our calendar. We already have the calendar booked out to the end of the year. These are the different calls that we have going. We're having a kickoff party because I do have giveaways for the launch. So we'll be giving away some really cool stuff. If you are on my email list, we will be telling you about that soon. The pricing masterclass is going to be fantastic. We guest speaker, Jane Goodrich, who is the founder of Pixello, which is a new CRM. We have our Q&A calls that you can see here every week. There's a new different call. So they just kind of cycle through. We're going to have a sales and a system and CRMs call, QuickBooks Online call, bookkeeping and tax call. And on that QuickBooks call, like if you need help, you can screen share and I'm going to walk you through where you're stuck. We're doing a pet photography secrets masterclass. So this goes through the end of the year, but we have some more stuff already scheduled out till quarter one. But this is our live calendar, just so you know what's going on. So I'm not kidding around. Like I have been so excited and wanting to build all this into one place. So please, if you're not on the wait list, make sure you come get on the wait list, because those on the wait list are going to get the emails of what the prizes and everything are for the drawing and the kickoff party before anybody else. And one disclaimer or note is that if you have purchased Master Your Bookkeeping or Total Tax Transformation of my courses, you will be getting free access to this membership until the end of the year. So make sure you get on the wait list so you get the details for how to get your free access.